This is part 2 of filters. This is where we're going to apply filters to several layers on one image to get even a more complicated effect than we did with simply applying filters to individual layers. Let's open up Old Town. There we go. And we're going to create 3 layers to work on. The background layer is selected. I'm going to hit Control J 3 times. And I'm going to hide the background layer. It's always good to have an unmodified layer hidden away that you can go back to when you need to. We're going to hide all but the top layer here. And we're going to apply a contrasty sharpening filter to give it kind of a line look. So let's go and do Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And you can see that boosts the contrast quite a bit. You can adjust these if you want. Okay. Then apply another filter onto that to give it simply lines. Go to Stylize and find Edges. You can see what that looks like. Okay. Change the mode to Multiply so you can see through it. Now we're going to make a smart object so that we can have editable filters. Click on this one layer down and right click here and convert to smart objects. You can see you get a little icon here. Now this is a smart object, so when you apply a filter, we're going to apply Filter Gallery and Underpainting. It puts the filter as part of the layer, so you can turn it off, you can mask it, you can double click, revisit it to change it around, add another filter, all sorts of things. You can also separately edit the image. So I'm going to double click in the icon and a second file pops up that's unfiltered that you can change. So let's go into here, Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. I'm just going to really boost the saturation and hit OK. To get back to my original file, I just close this, commit to the save, and there I am with it much more contrasty. Next thing I'm going to do is create another layer, this one down here, where I'm going to apply some entirely different filters and then use a mask to put some of those filters in some of the areas and not in some others. So let's move this to the top like that. Turn it on. And now do some crazy things to it. Let's just sharpen it up a little bit. Like that. And then go into Hue and Saturation. Twist the hue around. Maybe even distort it a little bit. Okay, now let's put a concealing mask on this so you can't see this. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and go down to the mask icon right here. and click. So now it has a black mask which hides everything on here. You will reveal it by painting white on that mask. Let's find a simple brush. Reasonable size. Full opacity. Needs to be a little smaller. I'm going to use the bracket keys to reduce the size. Painting in white. You can see I paint that out. I could paint the entire sky this way very easily. If I make a mistake, I can just hit the X key and it turns it to white and paint it back. But I don't have to do it with just such a simple brush. Control-Alt-Z to undo. I can pick a wild and crazy brush and do it in an artistic manner. Let's say this brush right here. Increase the size, and you can see that's a pretty crazy brush. Decrease the opacity. Maybe even put some scattering in it. Okay, back to here. X. So try something like that. Get a crazy mask. I'm going to right click on the mask and delete it and try some different things. Create a new one. We can do a gradient rather than painting. So I'm going to hold the Alt key down and create another mask. And with the gradient tool, black to white. First one checked. This set at normal and 100%. And just run across there, and you can see it does a simple gradient. Control-Alt-Z to undo. Let's try a different, more complex gradient. Let's go to, let's say, here, the middle one. Change that to difference. And just try this. And get a whole different mask out of it for something different. So, save this file and try some of these tricks on your own image.